Hello everyone, welcome back to my messy art desk. I swear that is not what I'm going to call this show. It's going to be like show and tell or something dumb like that. Maybe I should just call it my welcome to my messy art desk. Anyway, we are back with another video. And by the way, my name is Pyra Draculea. I did, for the last one, the Trent Reznor sketchbook, I had to do multiple takes, and I think I ended up... The best take was one where I forgot to say my bloody name. Anyways, hi, I'm Pyra. So this week's video, we're going to look at some pastels I've done over the last couple weeks, well, couple months. I just finished taking a class called Pastels in Nature through the Vancouver Island School of Art. So some of this is stuff I did in class, and then at the end I'll show some cartoons I did of my characters that were definitely not classwork. So just a random sampling of some of my favorites. This isn't all we did. First up, this is from a aerial photograph. Clouds. Kind of looks like lightning, which actually I like the lightning explanation better. And you know, when I did this, I actually didn't like this work very much, but now I see the colors and I think it looks a lot better. So, just quickly go through. You're going to hear that sort of noise a lot, but it is what it is. Next, some clematis, based on ones that are actually in my garden. Obviously, well, I was going to say semi-abstracted. I guess so, except... See, to me, well, we'll see another work afterwards, which is what I always think of when I think abstract work. I would think of this more as simplified, but I should probably call it abstracted. It would sell for more. Not that I'm selling this. Anyways, a little edit there due to some audio issue. I just realized I got a bunch of crud on this, but again, it's an exercise. It doesn't matter. This is one of the peonies in my garden, done Georgia O'Keeffe style, with some contamination from the back of another pastel work that it was stacked with. Oh well. There's probably going to be music underneath this week's video, just as there was last week. And that's because crappy lav mic, basically. The good one, I don't know if it's been fixed and the cable is bad or it's just toast. Anyways, this one I would definitely call abstracted surgery form. And abstracted, simplified. See, I'm giving the game away because some of these are meant to be vertical. This is based on a photograph from Clover Point, no, is this Clover Point? No, I think that's actually Trafalgar Park in Oak Bay. This one kind of screwed up tree, and the mountains of America in the background. And this is what I was referencing earlier as, this is the sort of thing I think of when I think of abstract work, right? You know, your stereotypically abstract, although I guess in recent years, your stereotypically abstract is almost more just a realistic depiction of texture, maybe? Who knows? You know, the funny thing is, I remember commenting on somebody, someone I follow on Instagram does a lot of abstract work, and he was kind of, having one of those days where he's kind of like, I don't know what I'm doing with my work or whatever. And not to pat myself on the back, I had a couple suggestions for him, but I remember the point that's relevant here is I think I actually began my comment with, well, I really don't do abstract work, and then I'm looking around at all my stuff and going like, oh, I actually do a fair amount of abstract work. It's just, see, in my brain, it's not, air quotes, abstract. It's either simplified or it's symbolic. You know, I'm not like going like, oh, I want to do quote unquote abstract work. It's just that way I draw. Anyways, the assignment was to abstract from a photograph, and I kind of didn't really know what to do with the photograph, so I just went full on. I want to say, Maybe Kandinsky, no. Here's where you can tell I wasn't paying attention in art history class. A little bit of Klee, a little bit of, yeah, it is Kandinsky, I think, that I'm thinking of, but very 1950s, let's say. So that's that. And this is another one where when I did it, I hated it. But, you know, a few weeks later, it's like, yeah, it ain't bad. It's not the kind of work I actually do. Well, again, I say that, and then, you know, from where I'm sitting, I can see a painting, a triptych I did in 2016, and it's freaking abstract. But I thought of it as symbolic. Anyways, moving on. Not abstract, not really. Simplified, though. Nice little forest field. Forest fire. And now we're going to have, because this is the last of the works of that size, so we're going to have a little quick edit thing so we don't see me dropping papers all over the place while I pull out the smaller ones that are cartoons. So, introducing Ricky B. Rat. This is one of my characters. Actually, one of the newer ones. Only a few months old, but, you know, well, he would say otherwise. I think I wrote on the Facebook page bio that he claims that he was conceived at one of Johnny Thunder's final shows at CBGB's in New York, but his mom says otherwise. Anyways, Ricky B. Rat. So I did a bunch of pastel portraits of him as well. So we'll just flip through that. I think he actually looks good in pastel. I tried doing this dude digitally. Did 3 or 4 Procreate ones, but even messing with like kind of the messier brushes, he just didn't look right in digital. So he needs some rough edges. Pastel's great for that. And then of course printmaking and whatnot, but that's for another video. So we got Ricky with the background of cheese looking all pissed off, not thrilled to be posing. We got Ricky trying to look cute or seductive or something, or just tilting his head because somebody, possibly the cartoonist, has said something really, really stupid. We have Ricky looking serious and annoyed. I think this was the first one of Ricky that I did, and you can sort of maybe see here. It's actually on a kind of a terracotta colored paper, so that works really well with the cheese background. I'm not stacking these up because I don't want to get like stuff messed on one from the back of another. Ricky looking pissed off. If you're going to have even a kind of sickly looking rat flesh color, it probably doesn't look as bad in the camera, but if you're using a dark gray pastel paper, you're gonna have to really goober on the pastel dust, and it may still kind of have this weird shadow looking through. And by the way, if you're hearing, well, actually you may not be hearing rustling, because in last week's video I opted to put some of my old instrumental music very low to, and I swear it wasn't too high to hum that I couldn't get rid of, but I might do that on purpose this time. So we got one more Ricky at the very end, but I also was doing some drawings of, well, it was supposed to be rock stars. One is, one isn't. This is supposed to be Bono from memory, but honestly, you know who it looks like to me? This is going to sound awful if you're a Hanoi Rocks fan, but oh my god, it looks like Michael Monroe with a different hair color. Oh, well, you know. Sorry, Michael. Love you and all, but it wasn't supposed to be you, and this probably will just never see this one again. That's a better shot of Bono, drawn from memory, with his characteristic "can't shut my mouth to save my life, I have to scream all the time" pose. I quite like the mark making, I guess, and working very fast, so it was a fun little one. That one might actually get framed and put up somewhere in my house, maybe. Or actually what I might do at some point is photograph it properly and monetize it. Put him to work. peddling his ass. Well, it's his head, but you know what I mean. And Ricky, finally, our last one for today, looking kind of perplexed. And also being very glad that I remembered to draw his tail, because as we all know, the tail is the the tail is the second most important part of the rat man's anatomy. The most important looks a lot like the tail, but anyways, so there's our final Ricky looking pensive for today. Anyways, so that'll be it for this week's video. Hope you've enjoyed my little collection of pastels. What am I going to say? Actually, I'll make a couple comments in closing about the medium in general. When I was in high school, I used to do a lot of pastel work. And it was kind of more this sort of thing. Not Bono, because I didn't listen to U2 yet at that point. I actually only got into U2 a few years ago, at the end of 2020. But, you know, other celebrities I used to do portraits for magazine. This is not from a photo. I deliberately didn't look at pictures and tried to just draw them from memory. So, but in high school, I used to do a ton of that sort of stuff. I can remember distinctly doing a pastel portrait of Johnny Depp and having it look so blended and so realistic. I was so proud. And then it got smudged, even though I'd sprayed it with fixative, but, you know. Well, I was going to show the back of this one's pretty clean, which is the Ricky that has a bunch of crap on the back. Oh, I think it's this one actually. But you can see I started something else, right? So I think that's what happened to the Johnny Depp portrait, and it was big. It was like 2 feet by, I think it was, I think it was like 20 by 24 or something like that. So about 2 feet. And I spent so much time on it, and then I smudged it. I was so sad. And I kind of, not because of that, but, you know, I ended up doing more acrylic painting and more cartooning and stuff that doesn't, you know, my hands are pretty clean right now. But if I was actually doing pastel work, you know, I have black dust goobered all over my hands, and probably, you know, I do like the wipe the forehead thing and therefore have a big smear of black across my face and all that sort of crap, right? So I kind of didn't use pastels for like 20 years, 25 years. But I saw this class, I wanted to take it. So what I'm going to say about the class is really great, especially as a refresher. Especially there were people in the class who've never used pastels before, so great instruction. My only thing, and this isn't a thing about the class, this is a thing about me, right, is, I'm just standing like right out of frame, sitting, but I have kind of gotten to the point, I'm so used to drawing what I want to do, so it's like, okay, spend 20 minutes doing a forest, and no matter, even though the final example, I'm looking at that last one with all the black trees and the kind of autumn color palette, you know, I like how it turned out, but I hated doing that when it was in the middle of it. Well, the same way with what I said with the first one, the clouds too, right? Just because I'm so used to like, oh, okay, I'm going to draw whatever the hell I want, nothing else, that it's like, it almost made my brain hurt. Which probably means I should do that sort of thing more often, you know, not necessarily a class all the time, because that gets to be expensive and whatnot, but like doing challenges or something where it's somebody else's prompt and having to sort of set my own work aside for a split second or for 20 minutes. What a horrible, horrible fate, right? 20 minutes of doing something aside from being up my own butt. But that class, I think, was really valuable for trying to get me thinking about that sort of thing and sort of working outside of my little comfort zone bubble thing. Just like actually what I've been doing all throughout the month of June is Ladysmith's Arts Council. I think their website is ladysmitharts.ca. Has been doing it. It's a totally free thing. They have a Facebook group for their challenges. I think they do a couple of years. So the June one was just, it's a list of 30 prompts, a different one for each day, and make something based off of that. Post a photo on the Facebook group. Everybody likes each other's pics. You know, it's not like a competitive thing or anything like that. But that's ended up getting me doing some very different kinds of work as well. Actually, there's one that Yeah, it's not in frame, but through the magic of editing, because I figure why show the back of my head while I reach across the camera. This is a watercolor I did the other day featuring Ricky. And this was a prompt from the Ladysmith Challenge. It was watercolors, and it happened to be on, is it Thursday? I think it was Thursday, the day that we found out about the submarine. Yeah. But anyways, because I was watching the news, I had that sort of down in Davy's locker sort of thing in my head, and then I didn't have to, but I was choosing to follow the prompts. So at the end of the day, I spent, this probably ended up being an hour or so, but combining the two with my guy Ricky and doing a watercolor. So this is not the sort of thing I would have thought to do until then. So anyways, it's just my little, hey, it's cool to take classes or whatever and get out of your zone. Just like, hey, all the Rickies that I'm showing in pastels, until I was taking the pastels class, I wouldn't have even thought, even though I have a ton of pastels, I'm using the ones I've had since high school in the 90s, but I wouldn't have bothered to haul them out and use them, except I had the class, right? And as it turned out, I really like the way Ricky looks in pastels, so I will be doing more of them. Anyways, that's my blah blah blah. But yeah, if you're in the Victoria area, I do think they're going to be running that class again, but they have other classes, of course. They're going to announce the fall, and here I sound like it's a paid endorsement. It's not. It's just, I like the class, but I think they're going to be announcing their fall schedule pretty soon. So yeah. And if you're not in Victoria, I mean, I'm sure there's a local school or other, gallery that brings in artists for doing workshops or whatever. So highly recommend it. Go play with some pastels. Anyways, that's it for this week's little show and tell video, whatever you want to call it. So see you next time. And if you want to see my links and all that stuff, they'll be in the description. And the standard YouTuber thing. Like, subscribe, tell all your friends, harass them into liking and subscribing as well. And that's how we grow the channel. Blah, blah, blah. Anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. Bye.